Hey guys, what is up? It's me, Dylan Vole, and welcome back to a brand new LEGO video where today we're going to be taking a look at this sweet ass LEGO pocket pistol, C10 style. Now, of course, this pistol will not be a part of accurate and powerful LEGO guns. However, it is still a very solid weapon and a very solid part of your LEGO arsenal. So thus, it's time to shoot the video. So that was a brief shooting montage of this LEGO pistol. More shooting clips will be to come. However, before we get onto that, allow me to talk you through this LEGO pistol in detail. And this is the pistol we'll be talking about today. And before we do go through all the details, allow me to give you a brief overview as well as showing you quickly how to load this LEGO gun. Now firstly, talking about the LEGO gun itself briefly, this is a simple open bolt action pistol, mostly made out of Technic bricks with a bit of LEGO brick, and it fires LEGO projectiles like this. It is based on the C10 design. We've seen loads of versions of it. We've seen loads that are made fully out of Technic, loads that are made out of bricks, and this version is one that I decided to create, which is a pocket version of the LEGO C10, which I say looks pretty sweet. Now, let me show you how to load it. So this is going to be quite awkward in terms of procedure. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take this clip and you want to take these rounds. And okay, yes, I've seen some people undo the gun and load the rounds, but really I can't be arsed with that shit, so we're going to do it the proper way, which is to use a clip and to load it in. So what you would do is you would take a round like this, and you may notice there are two parts. There's this circular part and then there's this cross-shaped part. I want you to take the circular part, trust me on this one, and push it through this part of the clip, like so. Then you want to repeat it for as many rounds as you want to load. So say if I wanted to load 4 rounds into this gun, I would load 4 of these Lego Technic rods on to the clip. And then what you want to do is it kind of gets a little fiddly. It's going to get more fiddly on the camera. So what you want to do is you want to remove this magazine part. And what you want to do, holding the gun sideways, is you want to take the clip, and this is where it gets fiddly because they do move around quite a bit, and you want to insert it all in like so. Then tip the gun down and make sure all the rounds are in. Then put this pusher through into the magazine of the Lego gun and you're loaded. All you have to do is cock the gun like so and you're ready to fire. Of course, the more rounds you load into the gun, the more you can fire it. Like so. So, now giving you a brief description, it's time to go through all the details of our Lego gun. This is a Lego open bolt action pocket pistol. It has 4 major components: the barrel, the trigger, the magazine, and of course the external clip. And first, let's go on to the barrel. The barrel itself has 3 major components: the bolt, the barrel casing, and the iron sights. This is the iron sights of the Lego gun. It consists of 2 major components: the front sight and the rear sight. The front sight and rear sight are prefixed together to the Lego gun as part of the Technic barrel. The barrel on this Lego gun is very similar to the barrel on the other Technic Lego pistol. Only this time the actual barrel is shorter in size. The barrel is reinforced in the same way with Technic connectors and these curved L-shaped pieces. It also has a Lego base plate to help with the reinforcement. This is what the barrel looks like when it is separated from the Lego bolt. As for the Lego bolt, the creation of this bolt is very simple. It features 3 major parts and 5 connectors. The first major part is this 15 stud long Technic beam, which is connected to the other 2 parts, which are the 2 5 stud long Technic beams. Then we have these Technic connectors which connect the back part of the bolt with the front part of the bolt. This is the part that collides with the projectile weapon, and this is the part that projects the actual Technic piece. And the barrel is still just as wide as the barrel on our previous pistol, with it being 1 stud wide. And what you may notice that not only is this Lego Technic barrel being blocked by the trigger, it's also being blocked by the magazine pusher. Now, in order to reattach the Lego bolt into the Lego pistol, what you would need to do is a little bit more complicated than what we needed to do for our former Technic pistol. First, what you'd have to do is you'd have to pull down the pusher. Then what you would do is you would put the bolt through the barrel of the gun. Then recommended that you leave it there. What I would do is I would place the rubber bands into the weapon, and you can kind of see which side has more tension just by checking which side it tends to more. The reason why I would check that way is it makes it easier to tweak, and then when I am happy with the tuning, if you will, of this Lego gun, all I would do is pull the trigger and the bolt is now installed on our Lego gun. Since we have just spoken about the Lego barrel, it seems only natural if we go down to the Lego trigger. Now, of course, the Lego trigger is very similar to the Lego trigger on our single shot bolt action Technic pistol, only this time it is connected into the weapon in a different way, like that. Also, unlike our previous creation, it actually has a full functional trigger guard. The rubber band is not internalised, however the rubber band is still kept tucked away so that the user doesn't catch his finger on it. And if we are just to have the actual trigger separate from the Lego gun for 1 second, you can see that the actual trigger is very similar, yet you can notice some slight differences. Now, let me just show you the simple components. This is the rubber band that provides tension to the gun and allows the trigger to function properly. This part here is the actual trigger in question. This part is the sear, which helps fire the gun and blocks the bolt. And of course this part is the connector, which connects this trigger to that part of the Lego Technic weapon. Yet again, applying the trigger to the weapon is of course easier said than done in some regards. What you would need to do is connect this connector into the Lego gun, and what you kind of have to do is fiddle around with the gun, almost taking it apart. And what you could then do is, when you actually have the connector slightly inserted, which will take a while to happen, you can then push the connector back up, tie it off, and there you go. The trigger is connected to the Lego piece. Then what you want to do is you want to ensure that the sear is actually in the main Lego gun, and what you want to make sure as well is that the rubber band is wrapped around this part so that the trigger can function. Like so. Then you want to get this trigger guard refixed so that you can ease on the trigger discipline, and so that the trigger is kept housed in one place. So what you may notice is there's this little connector piece, and then when I took off the trigger guard, I put this piece off. So what you want to do is you want to insert that rod into the connector. Then what you want to do is you want to insert this into the other side like so, and what you may notice is there already is a Lego connector down there, which is nifty and useful. Then what you want to do is you want to take this part in and you want to place it in, and what you want to try and do is, if you do remove the trigger guard for whatever reason, including inspecting the trigger, what you want to try and do is you want to try and make sure that you don't catch the rubber band in between these Lego rods or the connectors themselves. And when you put that back in together, not only have you refixed the trigger guard, you've also got the fixed trigger. It's now time to move on from the trigger and focus on the pistol grip. the pistol grip doubles up as a magazine for the Lego pistol, which feeds the Lego Technic pieces up into the chamber of the Lego pocket pistol. This grey rod is responsible for pushing these rounds up the magazine of the Lego handgun. With the elastic band, what it would do is it would push the projectile upwards until it is positioned here. And as soon as the bolt is pushed back, the round is then chambered inside the barrel of the Lego gun, ready for the user to fire. The pistol grip of this Lego gun, or the magazine if you prefer, is pieced together using these Technic rods, which also use these Lego Technic connectors / stud parts, which allows me to put these covers on. The covers are crucial for ensuring the structure of the pistol grip, as well as allowing this pusher to remain in the magazine of the gun. So, yes, this pusher slots into the magazine just like that. And to ensure that not only that the pusher actually stays in the gun, but also that it can push the rounds up, we need to give it some tension, which can be easily achieved by using this rubber band. And all I do, and you don't have to do it this way, you can do it in other ways, is I wrap a rubber band around it. Now obviously this has been preloaded, you might have to remove other rubber bands before getting to this one. But I would generally wrap it around from the top of the gun all the way down to the bottom of the magazine. And what I would do is, if there's not enough tension, is I'd wrap it around maybe once or maybe even twice to ensure that the magazine can feed rounds into the chamber. Now, you kind of want there to be a little bit of strain when you pull the bolt back. Not too much, just a little, just to kind of say, oh yeah, the tension's working. This is the clip of the Lego gun. And whilst it isn't fancy, it certainly is a lifesaver. This clip can load rounds on with ease and without hassle. Furthermore, the clip in and of itself is super easy to use. To load a round onto the clip, all you would need to do is push this part of the Lego Technic projectile through this cross-shaped connector until you reach this part of the Lego clip. Then you would repeat with the other rounds, and voila! Your clip is loaded and ready to use. Soon it'll be time to wrap up this Lego video. However, before we do that, allow me to talk you through my own personal opinion. Then I'll talk about who and what may have inspired me to come up with this weird creation. Now, first of all, what's so good about it? Well, first of all, it's repeating. That means I can load multiple rounds in the gun. It's easy to go. All I need to do is load it in with my clip, which, another positive, the clip is super effective. It works really well, and so does the pusher when it's kept within the gun, obviously. And I load the rounds in, it fires multiple times and reliably. Another good positive thing is that the projectiles that are loaded in the gun fire consistently, so they'll go at a consistent range and usually at a consistent accuracy. Maybe off a couple of inches, but most of all it hits where you want it to go. Additionally, it's got a very simple to use mechanism. All you do is pull the bolt back, pull the trigger, easy to go, good to use. and that makes it convenient for when you're in a pickle. Another good thing is, to help with your trigger discipline, you have a nice sturdy trigger guard, and this is helped by a really good, comfortable pistol grip. Now granted, the pistol grip may not be as sturdy as my other ones, but it's still ergonomic. It's got the little parts and little covers that are mostly studded, which help with the gripping and the comfortability, the ergonomics. Additionally, the barrel is super sturdy. I've had hardly any issues with that barrel. The barrel works quite well. And last but not least, yes, the rubber bands are prominent, but they're not in a way you can still use the gun easily. The rubber bands don't catch. And you know what? It's very reliable. I've had a lack of misfires. I have had some, and they've been some pretty big ones, but most of the time it's worked effectively. And this is where we go on to the bad, because I have just said that this gun does make some big misfires. Yes, the misfires it makes are quite big, and you have to go through and you have to search within the Lego gun to figure out where the problems are and repair them. Now, also, you have to use this Lego clip to be able to work through loading the projectiles into this Lego magazine without much hassle. Even then, there's still hassle involved. One of the biggest issues is you actually have to hold the pusher in at the same time as you're using the clip. And unless you get used to using the clip with one hand and holding the rounds that are on the Lego clip with your one hand and keeping this held with your other hand, you're going to struggle. Additionally, this part can break apart. It can move away from where it's supposed to be, and that's not ideal. I had to do it that way to ensure that there could be a trigger guard, the trigger could be in there as well without some weird mechanism, and that the grip was still usable. So I've had to go at quite a big compromise to make sure that everything on this gun that I wanted to be on this gun is on this gun. Also, you may notice yet again the rubber bands are prominent. However, I couldn't really do much with it because it's a Lego Technic piece, so I probably would expect it on my Lego Technics. And one big issue is, oh, hello, what is this? And this negative kind of comes into a positive, but this doesn't look tidy at all. Why is this part of the bolt peeking out? I don't know. But this is the bolt that was most effective when I was testing it, the bolt that worked to the best. And sadly, as a result, that's the bolt I went with, because I'd rather have something that had good results and good reliability and good shooting than something that looks really dazzling. That being said, it is a blessing in disguise, because you can kind of tell when the gun is primed and when the gun is not. That means that there's not a lot left to the imagination. I can tell that the gun's uncocked because this is sticking out. But I better be careful here, because I know the gun's cocked just by looking at this extra bit here, or lack of. And one of the biggest issues on this Lego gun is the sights, and this can make all the difference because there is no pointer on these sights. There is a cross reticle and there is a circular reticle. That's not good. That's not good when you're looking down the gun and you want to aim it precisely. I suppose when you want to get like a kind of approximation, that's fine, but when you really want to make a precise aim, yeah, no, that's not going to do good. That being said, though, I don't think this gun is good for precision firing. As accurate as it may be, it certainly doesn't have the power, and that's why it's not an accurate and powerful Lego gun. In general, I do like this Lego weapon. I do think it can be improved, and I'll have to go away and look at what can be done to make the weapon more effective and more efficient. However, as of now, it's a very good Lego gun. It's very good if you want to just prowl around and shoot. It's not something I would use in a Lego fight or as a serious Lego creation. This is something that you have maybe as a bit of fun, something to shoot targets with. But I wouldn't use it if you want to try and be competitive with your Lego guns. it just won't be effective enough, unfortunately. So, what has inspired me to build this Lego Mini C10 pocket pistol? Now I'm going to tell you this in a very short sentence. I was inspired to build this pistol from YouTube. And who could blame me? I mean, this design is very popular on YouTube. And when I say this design, I'm not talking about that specific design of the C10 or that specific version. I am talking about the original on YouTube. I can't seem to find the original video, and so many people haven't given credit for their own rendition of the Lego C10 that really I can't piece together who may be the original creator. We've got so many people who've built the Lego gun and just claimed it's theirs because either they couldn't find the original creator themselves or they just wanted the credit for themselves, because we know there were some bastards who actually think like that. Oh yeah, I'm going to take the credit all for myself. And that obviously ain't good. I'm not against people going out and building other people's Lego guns and making their own adaptations, but please, when you do, at least give credit so at least people can go down and find the original owner. I'm sure someone's done somewhere, but I'm not really going to check it out because they might have gone to the original owner of the Lego gun, but then again, they might have found someone else who hasn't given credit, built it off them, because there's so many instructions for it, and giving credit to the person that ripped it off, rather than the person that actually created the original weapon. So, of course, the credit goes to whoever built the original design, not some random bloke on the street that said, "Oh yeah, we created it!" Please, you didn't. Someone else did. And there are many different versions of this style of Lego pistol. There are plenty of original style variants with the Technic bricks and the two Lego parts here and the two Lego parts there. Lots of people have created that rendition of the Lego C10 and they've made pretty good ones, and some people have made pretty bad ones. Same, there were people with brick variants of this Lego gun. Same thing again, some are good quality, some are absolutely awful. And of course we have ones with a front mag. I don't like the ones with a front mag because one, it's kind of clunky, it kind of gets really big and bulky, and usually when you use a handgun you want things to load from the pistol grip anyway, because that's a nicer and more compact system. Now of course not all pistols did that, and not all pistols do that. There are still some pistols that are either single shot or pistols that have a magazine that's installed in front of the trigger guard. But for the most part, I prefer the magazine of a pistol to be within the pistol grip. And of course, my challenge here when I created this Lego C10 after looking at the inspiration was to make a variant of the well-known Lego weapon that can fit in my pocket. So let's test that out. I'm going to stand up here, and what you may notice is there's a pocket. This is a standard jean pocket. And all you do is tuck everything in. It's in the pocket, guys. And now I am going to remove the pistol from my pocket. Done. Okay, yes, that was a bit of a pain in the ass, but still did the job. And of course, I have changed numerous things with this Lego C10 design. I've created a new bolt, which works really well, which is based on, no, actually no, it's the exact same bolt from our earlier bolt action single shot pistol, and very similar trigger, where it's actually used on this part, the Technic beam, to keep it outside a Lego weapon. And the reason why I've kept the trigger on the outside of a Lego weapon was to ensure that the actual trigger You can actually put it down here and stay in the inside so we can actually get a thinner design. Also, one thing you may not have noticed was actually, when you got the original C10, this is either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I don't know which one the original one was on. If anyone knows that one, please tell me in the comments, because big deal, we want to make sure we know what the authentic things are like before anyone decides to be cheeky enough to take credit for their own dirty work. And of course, that meant that the accuracy was off by a few inches. This one, I've tried to make sure that the barrel was in the middle, just to make sure that actually it wasn't fiddling around. And of course, this trigger adaptation was vital to ensure it. People have made some scruffy triggers, people have made some good triggers, people have made some bad triggers. This is generally what I would say would be my version of the trigger. You be the judge on whether it's good or bad, but I like it. I like the way it works. The only bad way of doing it is that you can't really fit your finger in the trigger guard. And yes, it is shaped like a C10. Yes, it is shaped like a C10. Yeah, I'm going to remove that little extra bar just to prove, yes, it does follow the design. Put a picture of a C10 next to it. It does look very similar. I will do that at the end of the video so you can see the comparison. It's got a similar shape and similar design, of course, which it needs to be, otherwise it can't call it a C10 adaptation. And the only real main difference in the shape is, of course, maybe the dimensions, because it's a pocket version, and also the fact that I've added a trigger guard, but that's not really a biggie. If you don't like it and you want to keep it authentic to the C10, just remove the trigger guard. I'm sure there's a way you can adapt the weapon to work without that trigger guard, but I like the trigger guard. It adds that little bit of stability, and it adds that little bit more rigid. It makes it harder to break apart. So that was me talking through my inspiration of the gun and what I've tried to do with the weapon. And as a result, we are done with the Lego video. If you like the video, give it a like. If you want to see more, click subscribe. And of course, for our next non-accurate and powerful Lego gun video, I'm actually going to show you the instructions on building this, which is something I know people will obviously want because it's a fully automatic machine pistol. It works really well, and actually I kind of want to show you the instructions too. And of course we'll be returning back to the Accurate and Powerful Lego series after that instructional piece with our semi-automatic hunting rifle. Thank you for watching, and of course, keep on building.